What's up, and welcome back to Joygasm, where we talk about video games, movies, and pop culture. I'm Russ, Xbox Live Toaster 360, and with me is my brother from the same mother, Steve, Xbox Live Stevevich, as we ping-pong our way through episode 55 today, January 13th, 2018. To get the most out of Joygasm, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Just do a search for Joygasm TV. In addition to iTunes and Android, you can listen to our podcast on joygasm.tv and soundcloud.com/joygasmtv. Also, for some exclusive access and some goodies that are quite sweet, check us out at patreon.com/joygasm. And no matter which platform you use to enjoy the show, please drop us a subscription, thumbs up, or a review. It helps us build awareness, which we appreciate very much. We have a ton to talk about on this particular podcast episode. I know I, for one, am very much excited. I think Steve may just be as well. Gaming news includes Nintendo Direct mini conference, Microsoft's achievement overhaul, and Sony's console sales numbers. Movie news includes Ridley Scott and Disney, Deadpool 2, John Wick, Wonder Woman 2, Black Panther, and a solo Black Widow film. Technology news. I know those kind of come and go at a rare instance, but we have one for you here. It focuses on the new Sony 4K projector. And our topic of the day today is the Overwatch League. But first things first, Steve, how you doing?
Russ, you said ping pong earlier. I like to think of it as pinball.
You like to think of it as jib jab?
Nah, not necessarily jib jab, Russ.
Tit for tat?
No. When we're going through the episode, I see the little silver ball that you have to pull the lever back and send it flying, and then it just bounces all over the place, and all these points and stuff happens, and lights blink, and you don't know what's going on, but you're excited. That's how the show is, Russ.
Did I ever tell you which pinball machine is my favorite?
Terminator 2.
No.
X-Men.
No.
Spider-Man.
No.
Tron.
No.
Which one?
Medieval Madness. Doesn't get any better than that.
Why, Russ? Why?
I played that game for the very first time back when I was working at Maxis. We were working on The Sims 2, and there's a break room where Will Wright, the owner of Maxis, actually had quite a few different types of arcade cabinets and pinball machines. And so I was able to start playing that. And the great thing was that he had it set up so that you didn't have to pay for it. You just played for free.
He had games available to play at a game studio?
Amazingly so, yes.
Unbelievable.
It's kind of one of those things you just kind of have to have.
Do tell.
So anyway, during my breaks, I would go in there and just start playing it. And it was filled with such character and personality. I mean, you would love it. It's right up our alley in terms of just this funny, charming, silly type of pinball machine. And so it had like a huge castle with a drawbridge that actually would raise and lower. It would have goblins and trolls that would... Oops, sorry.
Those microphone trolls. I hate when that happens. Bums.
They would actually emerge from the base of the actual floor of the pinball machine itself. And so you got to hit them. And every time like the ball would hit their face, like, oh, that's not very nice. You know, just like fun little things like that. And they had some other little goodies in there too. There was just a lot of different well thought out pieces that made up this thing. And it was great just to play. And the further you got, it had kind of one of those like orange and black LCD screens. And so it had some fun animation stuff that would happen. It was just a blast to play.
Did they have any like volley of arrows that would be like shot at you?
I don't know if they had any kind of arrows, like physical props, but like they did have stuff like that on the LCD screen that would occur.
It'd be funny if always like these little miniature, like staple size arrows went and like hit you. You're like, it tickles.
Well, the sound effects actually were really, really just high production value in this pinball machine as well, which, I mean, I suppose a lot of the different pinball machines that have come and gone, they do rely more heavily on the audio. Like Terminator 2 was actually, that was high on the list. You were not far off because I did enjoy that as well. But this one in particular just had all those medieval sounds, whether it was like the swords clanking or even like, you know, you enjoy playing Clash Royale and it has all those fun little like kind of sounds. Imagine that, but then just really bumped up more notches because there's just more space for that sort of thing, more opportunity. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm glad you liked my little intro there, Steve.
Yeah. I just like pinball. I miss pinball.
Pinball is classic. It's timeless. It's something that you can just play whenever. It doesn't matter when it was made. It's just a fun apparatus.
Except when the ball goes like right down the middle and goes by all the flippers. Like no. You have to like jiggle the machine. Come on, junk. Try and like move the ball to hit the flipper. Yeah, that's when it really got fun.
Then you have to call the technician out because all the instrumentation was all out of whack.
It cheated me.
Yeah.
I want my token.
So I highly recommend that. I was not sure if you've tried that game, but it is quite fun.
Pinball is actually something where some people might think you played one, you play them all, but you're like, oh no. Oh, they could. There's different levels of fancy. Let me tell you.
They do, and they really do have some of the contraptions that you see them come up with. You're just like, that is really fun how the ball like goes around this railing and then it comes down and activates some sort of switch, and then like there's like this,
I don't know what's going on, but it's awesome.
Well, and the other thing too is that I have heard, because I don't personally own any pinball machines. I'd love to be able to get like a version of, I was going to say like bucket list would be to get myself a Medieval Madness pinball machine. But
searching on Amazon, medieval times.
I just wonder, who do you contact?
Yeah.
It's not like you just call up like a plumber. You're like, oh yeah, my sink isn't working. Come over here and fix it. Like pinball machines are kind of more of a niche market, I guess you could say.
It'd be expensive to maintain.
Yes. But anyway, back to you.
Oh, right. Yes.
What have you been up to lately? What have you been watching? What have you been playing?
Well, Ross, the only thing I've been playing is Forza. That's because the Forza-thon comes on, you can do certain things to get free cars.
Oh.
I'm all about the free, Russ. Free 99.
The freebies?
The freebies.
The swag?
Yes, sir.
The loot?
Indeed. So those will last about the week. 'Cause every like week or so, there's a new Forza-thon. Mm-hmm. And so this one, they have a Lamborghini.
Lamborghini! Have a tomato!
But one of the most expensive cars is the Sesto Elemento.
Ooh.
The sixth element, which you can win in the game, but you have to own the Lamborghini Centenario.
I see.
First, and that's like a $2.5 or $3 million car. So it's like, I'm not gonna get that one, Rose.
I'm glad that you're getting as much play as you are in that game.
I have a lot of cars. I don't.
I bet you have way more than I do.
Yes, I do. But so I come out and look at my digital garage, Russ.
Yeah. I'd love to.
Yeah. If only game credits can be transferred to real life. Anyway, so I watched the next episode of The Punisher. I continued that one.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, just because I totally forgot about that show. I've had so many other things that have been going on. Anyway, continue, Steve.
That is definitely a binge watch. So like you can't. I don't think it's good to time it out like we're doing. Like waiting for the next season. I think you have to watch them pretty like one after the other.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's not great, but it's good.
Yeah.
So then I started watching more Longmire. I'm in season 3 now.
Wow. How many seasons did you say? 5 seasons?
I think I was told there was 5, but on IMDb it said it was 6. So who knows?
Okay.
Maybe they're making it 6. I don't know. Who cares?
So they've got you hooked.
Hey, it's a nice Netflix and chill show, but I'm starting to notice some mistakes that they're doing. Like, they're sheriffs, right? So they go into a crime scene and then like they just start touching everything with their bare hands. Like sometimes they'll put gloves on, but not every time. I'm like, come on, guys, just put some gloves on. Like, really?
Yeah.
One detail. But the sheriff, I'm like, where have I seen that guy before? Like, I've noticed face. I can't place him. So I did a little bit of digging. He is Agent Jones from the first Matrix. Now, Agent Jones, right? He's one of the backup agents. He wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was he the burly one or was he the petite one?
The burly one.
Okay.
So he's the one.
He's the one who says he doesn't know. in The Matrix.
I think that's right. But he's in that classic scene where Neo's unloading and then he's flipping all over the place and he's the first, and then he shoots Nat back at Neo. And then, gets him in each leg and then Trinity goes, dodge this.
Yeah.
That's him back in the younger days.
Okay.
So I'm like, yes, I found him. Anyhow, let's see what else. Oh, so we were talking about Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, yes.
Back when we were deciding what the movies we liked for 2017. Mm-hmm. And it's been popping up on my Facebook feed saying, hey, it's all on DVD. Hey, it's out of here. So I put it on my Netflix list. But that got me thinking about the director and what else he's made. And I got the movie Arrival.
I heard about that, but I never saw it.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about it online, so I thought, give it a shot. And it's kind of like the aliens come to the Earth kind of thing, and we gotta have to figure it out. But it's a very sophisticated take on it. It's not like the aliens are here, run for your lives, sort of thing. It's a very philosophical, intellectual take on it. But it is a slow movie.
Okay,
you gotta have to, you're not gonna be waiting with bated breath for something to really happen. So
I always wondered what bated breath smelled like. Like baited with like earthworm baited, mealworms.
Take a whiff of what I got. I'll show you. It smells like this.
It was quite the pungent odor.
Let me Lysol my microphone here. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
That about does it for me, though. I'll pinball it over to you.
Oh! I've had a few things that I've been dying to talk to you about.
No, you haven't.
The first of which is, Zelda Breath of the Wild. That game has really sucked me in.
I know it did.
I just today actually tamed a horse. I was out in one of the fields and I saw a horse that spoke to me. Not literally spoke to me, but there was a herd of them, and I thought, you know what? I like that one.
Is it a stallion or is it a pony, Rose?
It is. Oh no, he's very much a wild stallion. So it was cool because I had to try and tame it, and I think that's one of the things I really appreciate about the game is just these things that I normally at first glance I don't think I would think would be that fun, but then as I'm going through, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So I have to sneak up on, behind the horse, and then I have to mount it. And then the horse, of course, is freaking out. And I'm trying to soothe the horse and tame it and whatnot. And it bucks me off. I have to try it again. You have to earn your initial trust with the horse.
Kind of like in Red Dead Redemption.
Exactly. Very much so. Mm-hmm. The animation, by the way, on the animals in Zelda are terrific. Whether it's the horse, I came across a dog. It belonged to someone else. It was one of the tavern folk. But I was like, man, that's a good looking dog. And the way it was just emoting and doing its little idle animation or whatever, it was just really great. And there were some frogs I've come across too that were just like, wow, that's cool. So definitely appreciate that. But yeah, just little things like that I'm doing in Zelda. In Zelda itself, and I know I've said this before, it's not a game that is too serious, but it is a game that just really rewards you for your exploration, your desire to want to see what's around the next bend, around the next corner, that sort of thing. So highly recommend those of you who have not played Zelda to give it a shot, because it's like I now have my Switch by my bedside where I'll play it for like an hour each night before I just go to sleep, because it's just, man, it's just so fun to play.
Does your wife look at you, roll her eyes, and then roll back over it?
Kinda, yeah. What's up, babe? She's just
Good
like,
night.
nerd. I'm like,
I was on the way home from the job. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Anyway, I listened to classical music on the way home just because I've been listening to phones ring all day long. That's right. Anyhow, so then I saw on Pandora, it came up with the Zelda song. I forgot exactly what it said. It was scrolling across the screen. Yeah, and I didn't want to look at the whole thing while I'm driving. Hey, Zelda! As I'm driving 65 mile an hour down the highway. 65 or 90 miles an hour. Anyway,
give or take 30 miles an hour.
So but I wanted to tell you because I know you were playing the game.
Yeah.
It was that was telling me that you were playing the game this week.
I really can start to see why this game got Game of the Year at so many different places, just because everything from the UI layout to the map layout, the gameplay mechanics. I was talking to some of the guys at work just this past week about how it's difficult to adequately describe this, but as you're playing the game, I don't know, it's like you're moving through and you're doing certain things, and it's open world. And so it's not like it's a linear based RPG where like as you're playing it, you go from point A to point B to point C. Oh, you go here next, and you go here next, and you go here next.
Here's your medieval GPS. Go follow this.
Yeah, exactly. Now there is a map and there is like the main story that you can go for, but I've just been having fun just going wherever I want to go just because I just enjoy the exploration of it. But it doesn't end there. Like, I think that there is some very sophisticated, well thought out game designs when it comes to where everything is placed within this world, because literally like you'll be going a certain direction, and then for some reason, like all of a sudden I will have, I don't know, a desire or an inkling to go this particular direction and go down a bend and over like a cliff or something and just see what's going on. And then all of a sudden there will be another type of scenario or situation going on. And I've heard from other players who have already beat the game, they talk about how there is kind of like this ramping of difficulty. So like you could totally go in a direction that has just the end game there, but then you'll just die pretty much instantly because you're just not leveled up enough for that. But I love how there's no barriers. Like you could do whatever it is you want to do. And I was thinking about how like just in terms of laying all this stuff out in a map, it's crazy how they were able to. And I honestly think that this is not by any accident. I think this has been methodically just iterated on as they were making this map and building out all the pieces to it. Just like, what would cause you to go over this ridge versus down this trail? And if you decided to go over this ridge instead of down this trail, what could we have for them over here versus what could we have for them down the trail? Or if they decide to double back and they go back this way, what else would be there that perhaps wasn't there when they initially went by that particular area? Just things like that. That's kind of the best way I can really describe it. But I, for one, really enjoy it because I've never had almost that proactive sixth sense, like that gamer sixth sense of like going somewhere and then getting rewarded for it in some way, shape, or form. I just think it's super cool.
I have one question for you. How's the horse's tail animation, Russ?
Both. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on a second. It's coming.
Got it. That was a good one.
I did the whole werewolf thing, like, get away from me.
I'll huff it up, puff it out.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, both of the tail animation and the mane that goes along the neck of the horse, really well done. Like when you first get the horse, you have to hold on to the mane itself to direct it. And then when you get to an inn, you can actually pay for some proper, I don't know, saddle and reins and stuff like that. So
that's gotta suck for the horse. He's like, oh, my hair.
And it's interesting that you say that because the horse doesn't like it. And so what you have to do is you have to soothe the horse, which means like you have to sit there and pet the horse sometimes because the horse will get a little agitated or whatever. And what's interesting too is that the control that you have over the horse is not very acute, I guess you could say. It's very rough, and I'm trying to get it to turn left and it's kind of turning left, but not really. But then once you purchase a proper saddle and reins and that sort of thing, you get your horse initially equipped. Then suddenly I instantly noticed an improvement on just being able to turn the horse much easier. So
yeah. Because I remember when you were playing The Witcher that you would constantly mention about how I can't stand that animation with the tail of the horse.
Oh. It was one of the very few issues I had with the game where, like, as you're riding a horse in The Witcher, it just had this like really stiff tail animation that would always kind of buck to the left. It was just, I didn't care for that at all.
But see, the old small details like that, where where the wind will blow, or when you start accelerating in speed or momentum when you're running, yeah, your hair is going to fly all over the place.
Right.
I had the same issue with Forza, Russ, because my main character, since all the dudes...
Were there lots of horses in Forza?
No.
All 540 of them?
since all the selectable dudes in the game look kind of odd, I selected a chick. And
yeah, I did too.
Yeah. And so I put her in a convertible, and like her hair is like perfect, like just down. I was like, why can't her hair just blow in the wind? Yeah. Like, because I mean, she's flying at 150 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour, and her hair is perfectly down. Like, why can't it just blow in the wind? That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Outrun style. You know what I'm saying?
Outrun's a good game. It's just definitely one of the arcade classics.
Indeed, they knew how to do it back then. They can't do it now.
Now, I've also been playing The Last of Us for PS4. I bought the remastered edition, which I've mentioned the last couple of episodes, but making my way through that, again, the story is such a strong pillar to this game. I can see why all the PlayStation fans out there, when they were playing Last of Us, they're just like, wow, this is like seriously a life-changing game. IGN actually gave the original Last of Us and the remastered a 10 out of 10.
I know. Now, are you twitching this, Rose?
No, I'm not. Yes, no. I probably should. I probably should, because we just kind of limit it to Wednesday nights because we're both here and it's fun to be able to banter back and forth. But maybe I'll just, I don't know, like if I'm playing it, I guess I might as well get on there.
Hey,
why not?
Why not?
So don't want to get into the details of it just because, first of all, you at some point should definitely play the game. It's definitely cool.
Yeah, I'll just borrow the whole entire system.
Yeah, exactly. And I've also purchased Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 to go with my Uncharted 4, which I have not started yet. So it's also, I'm just in this Naughty Dog phase right now. I'm getting through it.
I have all this hard drive space.
Yeah.
What am I going to put on it? I'm going to buy lots of games.
So earlier this week, I took the wife and we went and saw I, Tonya. Let me tell you, I was unaware that this movie actually came out in 2017. It actually came out on December 22nd, I think it was, like just at the very end there.
Thinking that we're only 13 days into the new year, Raj. Most movies did come out last year.
You have got to see this movie. This movie, seriously, both my wife and I were just floored by the end of it. I cannot recommend this movie enough. Like, I wish that you and I went and saw it because it would have been fun to do like a proper review of it. But Margot Robbie, okay, first of all, I've already been a Margot Robbie fan ever since I first saw Wolf of Wall Street. And then I saw Suicide Squad after that. I thought she made she was like the one redeemable thing about Suicide Squad because she just played a phenomenal Harley Quinn. But playing Tonya Harding in this movie, she's just electrifying. Like you are blown away as a viewer, just like watching what's unfolding. And really, it's not limited to just Margot Robbie, but also kudos to the entire cast and crew that were a part of it. Because it wasn't some huge, big budget film. It was something that was very character focused. And so you had, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 characters that were kind of the basis of the entire film. But man, it like totally brought me back. Because if you recall, the whole Tonya Harding incident with the Winter Olympics took place around like 1994, I want to say. It's either 94 or 95, somewhere around there with like the Nancy Kerrigan thing. This film actually starts back when Tonya Harding was like 3 or 4 years old. And you see like what happens. And what apparently the director went and had these actors as well as himself interview the different parties involved. So it was like Tonya Harding, it was her divorced husband, it was the bodyguard, quote unquote, for Tonya Harding at the time. It was also like they interviewed someone from Hard Copy, went back when Hard Copy was like in its big heyday. They interviewed Tonya Harding's mother, and all of which were performed by these actors that did such a superb job. I could not believe it. But like the biggest thing about the film for me personally was that it caused me to have just a huge myriad of emotions going through it. Like there were several instances where I actually felt sympathetic for Tonya Harding. There were instances where I felt disgusted, and it was just, it reminded me of just that whole situation. It also, it made me think a lot about humanity and about you have to understand, back in the day, no one thought of any kind of drama going on with figure skating in the Winter Olympics, right? And then all of a sudden this story breaks about how Nancy Kerrigan, got attacked, and some guy beat her leg or whatever, almost broke her knee, and how she was still able to win a silver medal. And then there was this huge drama unfolding about how Tonya Harding and her husband were somehow involved with it, and, so on and so forth. And so it was crazy to see this, but I mean, you watch as how Tonya Harding had just a brutal life growing up. And I don't want to just go into too many spoilers, but just the relationship she had with her mom. Her mom was one of the types of parents that it kind of reminded me of the Jacksons back when, Michael Jackson and Jackson 5, how their father really pushed them into entertainment at a very young age. It's kind of similar in that sense where the mom was all about getting her into competitive figure skating, and she got started when she was 4 years old. It was just crazy. But anyway, you see this whole thing take place, and you're just shaking your head at how the stupidity of some of these people are. I didn't even know that Tonya, did you know that Tonya was born and raised in Portland, Oregon?
Yes.
You did? No, you didn't.
Actually, I think I did. Yeah.
Really?
That sounds familiar. Yep.
I had no idea. But anyway, the film really does a great job of just going through this timeline of what happened, who she fell in love with, some of the trials and tribulations of being a competitive figure skater in the Olympics and whatnot. One of the little things that's not really a spoiler, she designed a lot of her own costumes that you saw her skate in. I didn't know that. I figured those things were provided by whatever, the U.S. Olympic team or whatever it is. But no, you actually see scenes of Margot Robbie with pins in her mouth, and she's stitching on sequins and stuff and doing her own thing. And then that actually impacted some of her scorings, just because of, they do this whole well, how well did you skate, and how was your visual appearance,
all
and
about presentation.
Absolutely. So needless to say, it's not a film that got a lot of just heavy marketing attached to it or anything, but you've got to check it out. Easily 4 stars.
Ooh.
I would say probably, if I had to think about it, I would say I would give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
If I thought about it with the left side of my brain as well as my right.
Yeah. If everything was working the way it's supposed to. But yeah, I've been dying to talk to you about it just because I was interested in seeing it, and so was my wife. But we were, the whole drive home, we were just absolutely just nonstop talking about it, and just days afterwards and everything else. And so it's so good, so good,
so good.
Oh, we also played Cuphead this week.
Oh man,
why don't you tell them about that, Steve?
Oh man, I tell you. I love and hate that game, but the animation, that's so beautiful. It's so rewarding. I don't think advancing past a boss or a new level in a game is as rewarding as it is with Cuphead. With Cuphead, there's this excited silent scream that we both do in your media room.
Yep.
Try not to wake anybody up in the house, but at the same time trying to loud as low as we can.
It's you want to flip the couch. You're so excited.
I just want to do just somersaults and flips on your couch. I don't know. I flip it over.
Bust out the nipple tassels.
Rain confetti everywhere.
But we got further.
We did.
So I don't really know how many little boss battles we have left. But I feel like we're getting into a bit of a...
We're near the end. We're near completion.
Yeah. The ball has begun rolling. Finally. It was stuck in the mud forever, and now we're just okay.
You beat the honey level, the honeycomb skyscraper. Empire
Yes.
State Building thing. Friggin' finally.
Stung that queen bee.
And then there was that water level that we beat.
Uh-huh.
And then there was that rat and the cat boss.
Oh, yeah, that one was pretty brutal. The rat was in the can and bouncing back. Well, not bouncing, but like try to ram us over. And then
Yeah.
the huge cat that explodes through the wall just took us. I love how like the final stage of each one of these boss fights, you just don't know what to expect. And you see it finally and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, this is insane. We're almost at the finale, though. We're looking for coins because there's a few things we still have to buy. Oh, yeah, I get it.
I like looking for coins. I have a metal detector.
I like to snap. We still have to go into South Park. We still have to play that. We still have to finish Evil Within.
Oh, there's a ton. There's an absolute ton. Like anytime we start talking about this, there are always like 3 or 4 titles that I forget that, oh yeah, we're in the middle of. So yeah.
We just got to Twitch a lot more, Russ.
However, I have a good feeling about Cuphead. I think the fact that we have a momentum on our side now, I think that perhaps maybe 1 or 2 weeks are left and we'll be able to actually put that one to bed. That would be great. And for those of you listening too, we've been playing on hard difficulty. We haven't been doing the easy route. I mean, that's just... We ain't a bunch of wussies over there. We're veterans. May take us about 5 times as long to beat the game.
Until everyone gets bored.
Yeah, right.
But...
people are like, man, they're still talking about Cuphead. Yeah. I think it's important also, just changing topics a little bit here, to remind everybody that round 3 of the SNES Classic Mini giveaway is currently live. It's going on. The pinned tweet has been pinned and tweeted. So you can find it if you just go to twitter.com/joygasmtv.
Switzer.
And Steve, please tell them again, what exactly could they win?
You're going to win the SNES that I waited in line in the rain for. You're going to win the... what is this? You're going to win the art catalog, the Superpower art catalog.
Exactly. Playing with Superpower is what it's called.
Uh-huh. And you're going to win the wireless controller that you know you want because the cord's only like 2 feet
It's wireless and it's a controller.
Yeah, if you don't want to sit 3 feet from your TV and play, then you're going to want this.
Now, once again, I wanted to stress that this book is really, really cool. The whole Now You're Playing with Power. You have Realizing the 16-Bit Dream. It's a nostalgic celebration of the Super NES and all its 16-bit glory. You get to learn about the console's development, history, and ongoing legacy. So they have a bunch of fun little graphics on here of like the different schematics and blueprints and stuff of just the different concept ideations of how the system itself will look. You know, you see it right there, Steve.
I see it right there, Russ. Yeah.
There is also a robust gallery of some of the biggest Super NES fans out there, showing their love through their art, music, and communities, which is pretty slick. There's also everything you've always wanted to know about the most beloved first-party titles, including the previously unreleased Star Fox 2, which is pretty cool. So a lot of art assets, visual content, and stuff like that in there. So also, too, this is something I just realized, is that in addition to the exclusive forward by Reggie, there is also this e-guide that apparently includes...
We could use that.
Let's see here. Bonus speedrun videos. Use the enhanced e-guide on the go, all optimized for a second screen experience. So if you're on a tablet or smart device, mobile phone, you know, that sort of thing, you can also enjoy what they have in this book.
I like that stuff. This is the ultimate fanboy package right here, Russ.
It really is. And so... just as a reminder as well, in order to enter, you have to retweet the pinned tweet. You have to follow us on Twitter, as well as subscribe to the Joygasm YouTube channel. And you must do all 3 to be entered, you know, officially into the giveaway. Otherwise, you're going to forfeit. You're not going to be able to actually win it.
Very, very easy steps.
Exactly. And the last day to enter is February 9th. And we'll announce who the winner is here on the Joygasm podcast on February 12th.
Right after my birthday.
Right after your birthday and right before Valentine's Day.
That's right. A lot of love in this package, Russ.
Yeah. Well, lots of joys to be had during your gasms. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, won't go there. Won't go there. Mom, what's he mean by that?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing, Timmy. Anyhow, did you have any other pressing things, or should we just get into some games?
Hey, I say we pinball, as the word of the day may have it, on to other things.
The phrase of the day. I hear that. I definitely hear that. Well, to kick things off, there was the Nintendo Direct Mini. I guess you can kind of call it a conference, but Nintendo released a Nintendo Direct Mini this morning with a handful of new games headed to Switch. Everything shown today is slated to arrive on Switch within the next few months, painting a picture of what we can expect from the first half of 2018. Within that, looked like there was Dark Souls Remastered that will look pretty interesting. I personally have never played Dark Souls, but I know there are fans out there and they just love the hardcore aspect to the game. In addition to that, 2018 will include Kirby Star Allies, which I personally am looking forward to. Bayonetta, which I've played on the Xbox. There's also Bayonetta 2, and there's a new game starring Yoshi. Fans can also expect continued support from major publishers such as EA, Activision, Ubisoft, Capcom, Sega, Take-Two, and Bethesda. So there's a lot on the horizon, and I don't mean Zero Dawn. Meh.
Or the Forza.
Oh man, yeah. The word horizon is starting to get used, isn't it? New Xbox achievement system. This is one, Steve, I'm curious to get your little thoughts on.
Better not be any just mediocre participation awards, Russ. Give me something good.
Well, it could include levels, quests, and avatar loot. How about that? A new system called Career could be added to Xbox, adding leveling, quests, and loot for avatars sitting alongside existing achievements and gamer score. Windows Central reports that it has received documentation showing that Microsoft is currently testing Career, which seems to, kind of act as a companion piece to the overall achievement system.
Well, that's the way I figured it would be from the get-go. I mean, if you get an achievement, it's like, congratulations, here's 100 points. I'm like, okay, well, I get 100 points. What can I use with them? Oh, you can brag to your buddies. Oh, well, that just kind of takes the fun out of it,
Well, it does seem like it's now is kind of the appropriate time for them to do a phase 2 of the achievement system, because when achievements came out, that was just a really big deal. I mean, we all, I don't know, to this day, I still love when that little thing goes and has a little animation and it says, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you could tell the developers had some sort of clever line that acts as the title for that particular achievement. But completing achievements will contribute towards your gamer tags level and leveling up rewards players with loot boxes containing cosmetic items for their Xbox avatar. Players can apparently even prestige in this system. Career will apparently also include quests, which rewards players with more XP and loot boxes for doing specific things, such as playing a specified game. Going by the documentation, it appears loot boxes cannot be bought with real money, which I like. I like that a lot. I don't want them to go down this path of just trying to, once again, eke as much blood out of the stone as possible of oh, you want loot boxes? Oh, it's going to cost you money. And it's by chance. You don't know what you're going to get. I can see that being abused really easily. Anyway, PS4. Christmas 2017 console sales surpass 5.9 million units. Alex Osborne reports Sony has announced more than 5.9 million PS4 consoles were sold through to consumers worldwide during the holiday 2017 season. The company also announced that as of December 31st, 2017, total global sales of PlayStation 4 eclipsed 73.6 million units. PS4 console sales reached the 70.6 million unit mark in early December. Additionally, over 55.9 million PS4 games were sold during the holiday season. That is a lot of games. Across the world in retail stores and digitally via PlayStation Store, making for a grand total of, get this, 645 million games sold since December 31st. Sony also announced the number of PlayStation Plus subscribers have reached 31.5 million. PS4's performance over the 2017 holiday season is slightly lower than the year prior, as console sales during the 2016 holiday season reached a total of 6.2 million units. But I gotta say, congratulations to Sony. Those are some impressive numbers. And that's about it that we have for gaming news. But I must say, have a plethora of movie news. To kick things off, Wonder Woman 2 will be totally different from first film, director Patty Jenkins says. While speaking to Entertainment Tonight at the Palm Springs Film Festival earlier this week, Jenkins briefly discussed her vision for the anticipated DC movie. The director is treating Wonder Woman 2 more as a completely separate film rather than a sequel. But Jenkins has also reassured fans Wonder Woman 2 will still maintain some of the things people loved from the first movie. Jenkins also revealed there's a possibility of including Linda Carter, who portrayed Wonder Woman in the 1970s TV show. Maybe she'll be in the sequel. Jenkins tried to get Carter actually in the first movie, but it didn't work out due to scheduling issues. But it makes me wonder if it is to be believed that Wonder Woman 2 will take place more during the Cold War, like 1980s style. What kind of visuals can we expect?
I think that whole thing started with James Cameron and Patty Jenkins going back and forth. That whole debacle. Good grief. Egg on your face. How can we smooth this over?
How do we make this
go away and never surface again?
Simpatico. John Wick. Love me some John. Do you like John Wick?
Yes, but I like John Wick driving his Mustang. Actually, no, I like John. I like all of John Wick, but I mean, I want him in his Mustang more, driving and shooting instead of just shooting.
But just as a character, of John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick TV show, The Continental, being developed by Stars. If you recall, The Continental, I believe, was the hotel that he stayed at.
That's right, Rose.
Or wait, hold on a second. Was it the hotel, or was it the faction that he belonged to?
I think it was the hotel.
The hotel. We're gonna go with hotel.
Oh, we're gonna go with hotel. That's what I'm banking on.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the hotel. Anyway,
can I have hotel for $500, Alex?
That's therapist. Anyway, a little SNL anger for you. Did you ever see that, by the way?
What?
Did you ever see the SNL Jeopardy?
I think I did, but No, I didn't.
Oh man, that is your homework, man. Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek. Oh my gosh, he is so funny. And they had some other people too playing, like Sean Connery and
I saw a classic
Burt Reynolds
SNL recently, which had Christopher Walken in it and Creedence Clearwater with the cowbell.
Yeah. That one's also too. Is that the one with Christopher Walken?
Christopher Walken, yeah.
He's like, fellas,
I
got a fever. And the only cure, the only prescription is more cowbell.
He starts banging the cowbell like right in the guy's ear.
And you see like his sweatshirt's like kind of coming up. You see his gut.
Hairy
awesome.
gut, yeah.
Anyway, we're totally off topic. Getting back to the John Wick TV show, Stars and Lionsgate are developing a John Wick TV series titled The Continental. Stars announced at the Television Critics Association Winter 2018 press tour. The show will be set in the John Wick universe and take place in a hyper-real version of Los Angeles, with the story focusing on the inner workings of the Continental Hotel. Stars promises the series will maintain the same fast-paced action and dry humor from the first two John Wick films. Speaking at the TCA Winter Press Tour, Star CEO Chris Albrecht said that the show and the movies exist side by side and noted that, quote, it's unclear what Keanu's role will be. The show is not designed to have him in the lead, but we're very excited for it.
Come on.
But again, I think that this headline is worth talking about just because when we saw chapter 2 of John Wick, we were talking about how could they expand this world, because it's begging to like just have all these standalone stories of different types of assassins and just what their origin stories are, what exactly is their motivation for existing in this world, what are their relationships to the other assassins. I mean, I think that if Stars does this correctly, this could be a really great show to check out.
I posted the story on Facebook and I said that this is the only way, or that this is the best way that this scenario could have happened, because the way they ended the second movie, I mean,
anything goes.
Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah. So we could have had a plethora of movies, or we could have a really good TV series.
Yeah.
My only thing is that I wish it was on Netflix because I don't have the Stars package. I have Netflix.
That's true.
Although when it comes out on DVD, since I get them by snail mail, I'll still be able to get it, Russ.
Hey, there you go. I'll come over to your house and we'll sit down with some popcorn and watch it.
Hey, Russ, you never come over. You want to come over and watch John Wick with me?
Okay. Well, and the other thing, too, is I hope that they find a way to be able to, I don't know, bring in the movie component. So, like, if they have, you know they're going to do, like, John Wick Chapter 3. I'd love for the TV show to be able to somehow bring it in. Like, Marvel kind of does this, but I feel like they haven't gone far enough. I'd like to see a bit more of the two just having the symbiotic relationship. It'd be really, I don't know, more of a fun user experience, viewer experience. This next headline, it makes me a little conflicted, Steve.
That was a conflicted sigh right there.
Warner Brothers CEO says DC Films can't try to copy Disney. Warner Brothers Entertainment CEO Kevin told The Wrap Warner Brothers, quote, can't do what Disney's done, end quote. He said while it's, quote, worked really, really well for them, it's not who Warner Brothers is. Quote, we need to continue to create a balanced slate of all types of movies and all genres, end quote. So while I can appreciate the fact that he wants to be original in all senses of the word, this goes back to what I've talked about in the past, which is just, I think that Disney and Marvel have perfected the idea of you have a grouping of standalone, superhero films that give plenty of opportunity to explain a backstory for a particular character, then do the big tentpole where you have the big group of team come together and take on whoever the latest big baddie is, and then go back to the standalone films, rinse and repeat. For whatever reason, they just seem to be dead set against doing that sort of thing. And I don't know if there is a better option, given the fact that they're basically the same type of approach. They have their own list of superheroes. Instead of the Avengers, they have the Justice League. What do you think?
I'm good for whatever. I just want them to clean up their act a bit and just make some great superhero movies. Don't go the comedy route. Whatever formula works for them. Just make it good for the fans.
Well, in DC is more serious. They're darker than Marvel.
That's why it didn't make sense with this last one. How them to just kind of goof around a bit.
Yeah.
And no Ben Affleck. Get him out of the formula.
Speaking of Marvel, Deadpool 2, New Mutants, Gambit release dates changed.
I like Gambit.
The Hollywood Reporter reports Deadpool 2 will now be released in theaters on May 18th rather than June 1st. So a little bit earlier. I like it. Puts it opposite Sony Pictures' Slender Man, which I don't really know a whole lot about at this point.
That's probably you.
But
you're the Slender Man, Russ.
I wish I was a Slender Man. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. It actually also puts it 1 week ahead of Solo, a Star Wars story. So a little bit of the own strategy at play, I believe. Oh, you're going to release it? Okay, well, we're going to here and make our money.
Timing is everything.
Meanwhile, New Mutants, which Fox previously had slated for an April 13th release, will now not hit theaters until February 22nd of 2019.
Like, gotcha.
Yeah. With many estimations expecting the Fox-Disney merger to take about 12 months to be vetted and either approved or denied, it is unclear what would happen to New Mutants should the deal close before its release. And last but not least, Gambit, which I've been pretty interested in too.
Bring it out already.
It's been kind of come and go in terms of the news. But lastly, Gambit has been pushed from a February 14th, 2019 release to a June 7th, 2019 release. So it's been delayed. Reports earlier today announced director Gore Verbinski, who he directed, if you recall, the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Apparently he left the Solo Gambit film, but Channing Tatum is still attached to star as Gambit. So, and the jury is still out on that. I'm not sure how he's going to play Gambit.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's great. I'm optimistic. I'm looking to see what he can do, but I'm trying to speak here, Russ. Can you blow out your nose excrement some other time, please?
I'm sorry, I'm congested.
It's this room. I tell you what. Ah, here we go again.
I'm just crying because Gore Verbinski left.
That's your nose. That's your nose. That's crying. That's gross.
I started thinking about like how can a nose run and feet smell?
Ugh.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I always see all Gambit from the comics and the cartoons, and I don't know the facial and the body structure. I don't know. I can't see Tatum doing it, but I'm optimistic. I mean, if he can do it, he can do it.
Are there any films that you are a fan of that you liked that Channing Tatum has been in?
I mean, there hasn't really been much that I've seen with him that was bad. It wasn't like I would recommend highly to folks go see, but I mean he's decent. I mean he can act for sure. But
there was a Wolverine movie, I believe it was, where you had someone playing Gambit. I believe it was Taylor Kitsch, who was Tim Riggins from Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, that is correct.
I thought he did a pretty slick job.
That is right. Correct. Yes.
Like I would love to see him come back and reprise that role as Gambit.
Was that the second Wolverine?
I don't recall, honestly.
I think that was the second Wolverine. That was the one with Will.i.am in it also. Will.i.am was somebody else in there.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along here. Marvel's Black Widow solo movie. This is also news to me. Lands a writer. Marvel Studios is reportedly moving forward with a standalone Black Widow movie with Jack Schaefer on board to write the script. According to Variety's sources, the project is still in the very early stages of development and has yet to be greenlit by the studio. While a Scarlett Johansson-led Black Widow film is not yet a done deal, attaching a writer to the project is the first major step forward in the movie becoming a reality. I think that if they were to do this, the smart money would be on doing an origin story of Black Widow, like going back to Russia, showing how she got that red in her ledger, so to speak. I, for one, especially actually, Jennifer Lawrence is in some sort of film coming out soon. I think it's called Red Sparrow. That looked really good. And it takes kind of that similar premise of her where she's like some sort of elite Russian assassin that comes from this group that gets trained. Like these girls get trained at a super young age. Have you seen the trailer for that?
No, but I've heard the lineage comes from the Black Pearl and Jack Sparrow.
What?
This was a stupid joke, Russ. Anyway, we move on. Tying the whole entire Disney universe in there.
What was that?
Yeah, Marvel. What else? Disney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Black Panther. Here's some fun news. Beats Fandango MCU pre-order ticket sales record.
I heard about this.
Black Panther has set a new Fandango record as the top-selling MCU film in the first 24 hours of ticket pre-sales. Fandango managing editor Eric Davis revealed on Twitter Black Panther sold more advance tickets in one day than the previous record holder, Captain America: Civil War. Though pre-sales have been great, it remains to be seen if Black Panther will repeat Civil War's $179 million opening. The third Captain America film went on to gross over $1.2 billion worldwide, and it's because that was a great movie.
Indeed.
I actually go back and forth as to which one I like more, Winter Soldier or the third Cap, the Civil War.
There's bits and pieces to like about both. I might go more towards Winter Soldier than Civil War, but there's a bunch to like about both movies for sure.
Yeah. This is more of a TV thing, but I thought it was worthy of mention. The Big Bang Theory, which I and the wife are huge fans of. Season 12 is likely its last. Young Sheldon renewed for season 2, which I don't watch, but the upcoming 12th season of The Big Bang Theory may be its last. While speaking at the Television Critics Association Winter Press Tour, try saying that 3 times fast. Via TV Line, The Big Bang Theory star Johnny Galecki revealed that the cast and crew feel season 12 would be a suitable time to wrap up the hit comedy show. However, nothing's officially confirmed just yet. This is a TV show that you actually, Steve, at some point, it'd be awesome for you to start at season 1 and just work your way through because it's just seriously a great. Did you watch New Girl?
Never. No, I haven't.
Okay. We started watching both of these shows kind of around the same time, and they both have this style of humor that just it just works really well.
I've seen quite a few of the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, they a lot of folks when I used to work at Target, they would play it in the break room.
Oh, okay.
So I mean it's entertaining. I didn't think it was hysterical.
The cool thing about the show too is that regardless of whether you're just following it chronologically or you're just throwing in an episode onto the TV and just playing it in the background, it's one of those shows that you can play in the background and it's just great. You can go off and do something else.
It's like the show Friends,
very much so,
but for geeks like us.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Finally, last but definitely not least, this got also my interest peaked. Ridley Scott may direct Disney's Merlin saga.
Nice.
Variety reports Scott is in talks with Disney for the Merlin saga, and it may be the filmmaker's next project with Philippa Boyens, who from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, penning the script. Ooh. Scott's production company Scott Free is also in negotiations to produce the movie. I think that's
a good recipe right there.
That is a very good recipe. While not much is currently known about the Merlin saga, it is said to be based on T.A. Barron's novel series, which follows a young Merlin becoming a mentor to King Arthur. It is one of 2 movies Disney is currently developing based on the character, with the other one being a live-action remake of 1963's Sword in the Stone.
Oh, that's a good show
right there. I'll tell you what, love me some Sword in the Stone. That's actually one of my favorite Disney animated films, The Sword in the Stone. So good.
Didn't we do some impersonations of Sword in the Stone on a latter episode?
I think we did.
Yeah, the whole chipmunk scene. Oh, and yeah, and the with the birds and the owl. Archimedes, yeah.
Yeah. No, we did. That was good.
Awesome.
Well, that's about it from movie news. However, we do have one story from technology.
Cue it, DJ.
I think is worthy of mention. So the Consumer Electronics Show,
CES,
is going on currently, and Sony announces, get this, a $30,000 4K projector. Sony Electronics has announced the 4K Ultra Short Throw Projector, which is also known as the LSPX-A1.
Not saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, exactly.
ABCDFG.
A new projector that joins the company's Life Space UX product line. The LSPX-A1 will be available for purchase in the United States this spring with an expected price of around $30,000. When positioned 9.6 inches from your wall, this device delivers a native 4K resolution image with HDR that is 120 inches, diagonal of course, in size. The projector can also reach a brightness of 2,500 lumens. Now, I'm not too much of a projector pro, so I'm not sure kind of what the going standard rate is of lumens with older projectors. Do you know anything about that?
You know what? I knew you were going to ask me that question. I'm like, oh, what was it? Because I used to, this was my bag back in the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know anymore. No, I don't.
Well, the projector features technology that builds upon the glass sound speaker to deliver, quote, crystal clear, high-frequency sound at 360 degrees by vibrating the 2 organic glass tweeters installed on the front legs, end quote. 3 mid-range speakers fill the room with sound, while a separate subwoofer proves dynamic bass. And that part too, I'm kind of floored about because I don't really think that there are projectors that also provide that level of sound.
Yeah, I mean, for 30 G's, I would expect something to do, something better than 4K. So if it's sound, that must be a big projector. Because
it's got to be.
In order to produce quality sound, the speaker has to resonate somewhere. That's why all the speakers that you get have some sort of custom cabinet that they come in because the reverb's back there, and that's how they project outward. So if you have a box with all these different circuits in it and lenses and whatevers and whatnots, it'll do sound either way, but like good theater quality sound, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough for me to even wrap my mind around the idea that like what is generating your picture won't be vibrating or causing like some sort of tremors with the picture quality.
Right.
I don't know, but apparently they've got it figured out. For 30 G's, it better not have any of that.
For 30 G's, I'd like to have a 6K projector.
Seriously, why stop at 6? Let's go to 8.
Indeed.
The device can be connected to an array of 4K streaming devices and comes with a controller with minimal buttons. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's one button.
And one button that activates the touchscreen, which there's 30,000 buttons.
Yeah, exactly. That's where all your 30 grand is going toward. It also features a, quote, premium furniture-like design with a marble top. Ooh. Half mirror finished aluminum frame and wooden shelf.
Oh, well, that's $20,000 right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, how about we just take that part out? Now, how much are we talking about? Like 10 grand?
How much just for the parts?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll assemble it myself.
And that is about it for technology news. And now on to the main event, our topic of the day.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
Winston reporting.
Justice reigns from above!
Junkrat primed and ready!
Lucio coming at you!
Form up on the payload. Move it out!
Nerf this!
Come out and face me!
I am ready to revive you.
Our topic of the day is going to be about the Overwatch League. And this got launched.
Let's tell about it, Russ.
It actually, originally I thought it was launched this week, but I am mistaken. I am mistaken.
I'm too busy playing The Last of Us, Russ.
Exactly. But they had a preseason week that transpired first, and then went into this. So anyway, Blizzard has launched this latest hoorah, which I'm very excited about, just because I, along with you, are big fans of Overwatch.
Liar! No, I'm just kidding.
And so it was cool to see kind of I was curious what they were going to do next after the whole like Winter Wonder. I keep wanting to say Wonderland. Winterfest or Wonderfest. And so this is the next big thing that they've done, where if you go into the Overwatch game, you see that they have a new main menu there, and there are various Overwatch characters that have different types of team colors and team names that are kind of etched on their outfits, their respective outfits. So,
and you get 100 coins.
I don't really understand that. I don't know. Do you know how to earn more?
No, I don't know how to earn more. I was looking to see how I can earn more, but you can spend it on a costume. There was like corresponding to what team, what competitive team you like or you follow or whatever.
Yeah, that I thought was pretty fun, just because if there's a particular team that you're rooting for, or there's a particular player that you really like, you can go in there and they have like every single player's name listed that you can just choose from. And I mean, it's no different than people who like football or baseball or hockey or basketball, any other kind of sport that actually requires physical activity as opposed to esports. But still, like, I mean, you know, if you want to
square,
yeah, if you want to buy a jersey or a parka or whatever it is, you know. So I think that's pretty fun. But
it's like wearing your Air Jordans, but on Overwatch.
Yeah. I will say that the jerseys that all the players are wearing, I think they're designed by Blizzard. Those are actually pretty cool. Like, even though I'm new to the scene, like just from a pure design standpoint, I was like, all right, yeah, that's not bad.
Who'd you choose, Russ?
What do you mean, who did I choose?
For your colors.
My colors?
For your character. Your 100 coins has to be spent.
I haven't made a decision yet. I don't know. There are quite a few players in there. I mean, the team colors, of course, are just, they are what they are, but I don't know. I have not made my decision. Have you picked one?
Yes, I have.
Oh, what did you pick?
I picked the, good grief, it was the Houston team.
The Houston.
It's the Houston team.
The Houston team.
And I went through it, and there's a trim level.
The Houston Outlaws.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw it in my mind. I'm like, yeah, it's got a bull and star.
Two guns that look kind of like a bull. They put horns on the end.
I'm thinking cowboy out west. Laws that are out. I don't know what it is. In-laws, Houston in-laws.
For some reason, that doesn't sound edgy enough.
Yeah. Hi, we're here to compete for Overwatch. Who are you guys? What's your name? Oh, we're the in-laws. The Houston in-laws. Oh, all right.
So which player name did you go with?
And
why?
I didn't go with a player name.
Okay.
But the entire team with their trim for all of the characters fit perfectly. I was going, McCree, Mercy, that looks great.
Oh, really?
But I went with the Reinhardt. The Reinhardt looks incredible.
Does it?
It looks like I don't know if listeners will be familiar with Qzar, but it looks like a Qzar.
Like laser tag.
Yeah, laser tag version of Reinhardt in a way, but not with black lights, but with like a neon green and a carbon black.
Right.
Awesome.
I'll take a look at that. I honestly have not taken the time to look at each and every one. I just figured they have the team colors and they have like the player's name somewhere on the character, but maybe they actually did vary and change up some of like where the colors rest on the character and that sort of thing. So that's cool. That's cool that you picked one. I will have to do the same. I think the first thing that I really want to stress about this is that while the esports platform is nothing new, it's been around for a while now. And Blizzard is definitely one of the pioneers of this, where they have StarCraft and Warcraft. There's also Riot Games with their League of Legends. You have more and more of these companies that are starting to come forward, even with the first-person shooters too. I mean, you have different types of championships that go on. But what I think is interesting is how over the years, like you've seen this begin to really catch on. Like there's more and more attention being spent and more money being spent for this particular platform. And I think it's gaining steam, especially like of course, South Korea. I mean, South Korea is hugely into esports. In fact, I was watching a video documentary the other day about how the players there are actually treated like celebrities there.
Was it by Vice?
I don't remember.
Because I saw a documentary also about that Vice did. And yeah, they went there and they're like, I mean, you see these gamers and models coming on to the gamers.
Yeah, gaming is just the largest form of entertainment, I think, over there. And it's interesting because that clearly is not the case here yet. I mean, you have different teams from different parts of the United States as well as other countries, and they're coming forward and having fun and doing their thing, but it's still very much like, oh, so you play esports. You know, and you just have to kind of, you know,
yeah, bruh,
shake your head and be like, never mind.
What's it to you, bruh?
But the
esports.
Yeah, esports, bruh. One of the stories that really caught my eye was that for this particular go through, so to speak, basically with Overwatch League being launched, Twitch, which of course, I mean, we all know Twitch is just this platform to be able to broadcast yourself. And it's been really neat to be able to see how different people have leveraged the platform. So, I mean, obviously you have your gamers that will be on there and they'll broadcast themselves playing and they'll have audiences. There have also been several creatives that have actually decided to get on Twitch and use it as a means to be able to showcase what is that they do, whether it's 3D modeling or some sort of arts and crafts thing, or, I mean, just, and that's not limited to that either. I mean, even people playing more traditional games, like people who are into D&D, they use Twitch as well. It's not even a video game. You're watching people roll the dice, you know, and just playing those types of games as well. So it's interesting to see how Twitch is beginning to expand into these different areas and be used for quite a few different types of scenarios that honestly begin to reminisce, or not reminisce, but represent more of kind of what YouTube has become, where like YouTube's a one-stop shop for all of these different types of needs and searches and that sort of thing. I don't think that Twitch is at that level yet, but it's definitely expanding kind of in that similar direction. One of the biggest stories that relates to Overwatch League is that Twitch buys exclusive Overwatch League streaming rights for a reported $90 million. And I don't know about you, Steve, but this brings new meaning to the term payload, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
But I'm cheating. But anyway, Twitch has secured the exclusive rights to live stream the Overwatch League's first 2 seasons for a reported $90 million. In a press release, Overwatch League described the deal as historic, saying that it ensured that every match of the world's first major global city-based esports league will be readily available for fans across the globe. So $90 million is a lot of money, especially considering when I think that a lot of folks, it kind of more the mainstream people, when they kind of look down on esports, it's very telling, I think, to be able to see, it's like, wow, like Twitch is seeing the massive amounts of potential for just what this could become, what kind of success could be had with it, and probably seeing the numbers as well grow exponentially over the years. I mean, just for 2 seasons, $90 million. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. What do you think?
let's make it 91, Russ.
91.
Just make it. Actually, you know what? Let's just make it even 100. You know, none of this. It's 90, but it's not quite 100. No, just make it 100 million.
Why split hairs?
I know.
Well, Twitch will be the exclusive streaming partner of the league, presenting every match in English, Korean, and French. Viewers will also be able to earn rewards, check this out, for watching, including in-game items. So it's kind of neat that they're actually having some interactivity with the viewers as well. It's not just a passive thing.
Right. Yeah.
Now, on the first day that Overwatch Leagues began, they said that the viewership peaked at right around 415,000 viewers, which again, it's not like you have like 20 million people tuning in, but again, also the Overwatch portion of esports is brand new, and esports itself as a platform is still pretty new, all things considered. So, I mean, once again, solid numbers. I think that it's clearly got a ways to go.
For sure.
But man, not too bad.
Which ways would you like to see it go, Russ? How would you like to see what you've already seen evolve?
What I appreciate so far when watching it is I really appreciate how Blizzard has gone to great lengths in terms of the presentation. The production value of this is actually, I mean, the stage, the lighting, the different types of art assets and designs that get composited onto the different screens and whatnot.
You said something else.
What do you think I said?
Oh, the hard asses and like, all right, Russ, I didn't catch that, but anyway, go ahead.
Dewey, did you grab my ass? Sir, from where I'm standing, that's a physical impossibility. I know your tricks, Dewey.
Anyway, you were saying.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that it I tip my hat to Blizzard for actually taking the time to be able to do what they've done so far in terms of the production value. You can tell that like they have big plans for this. They want to be taken seriously. And
Very serial.
I think I'm super serial. Thank you, Al Gore. Yeah. I think that it's going to take time. Like I said, in terms of the mainstream, if I were to compare this to say like the comic book industry, right? The comic book industry for the longest time was this niche kind of thing. You had a certain crowd that was into it, but it didn't hit the mainstream. The mainstream was not into it. And then once it went into the movies, and even at the beginning, it wasn't quite as big. I mean, yeah, you had like the original Spider-Man movie that came out, and that was a big success. But as a whole, it took a little bit of time for it to pick up steam, and now we're in this golden age of these comic book movies that have come out, and the mainstream audience as a result just absolutely love it. And, all the comic book nerds who typically would have to be like, just hiding their hobby, so to speak, or whatever. That now they can talk about it out in the open, and it's a fun time to be a geek, right? I think that there's something that is a bit of a parallel with this, in the sense that typically the word sport
requires sweat.
Yeah, it's synonymous with some sort of physical activity.
Fatigue.
I mean, even like croquet. I mean, like there's still some sort of level of physical activity to that.
Even like thumb wrestling, Ross. I mean, come on.
Yeah, dude, totally. Give me in that badminton. So yeah, I think that in terms of the esports entertainment platform, I think that there will probably be a bit of a pendulum shift in the future. It's not here yet, but from what they've done so far, I mean, I think they're making all the right moves. I definitely appreciate the different sportscasters that they've had talking on the show. They've done a really nice job of just coming across very professional.
Actually, they have. Yeah. I mean, at first I'm like, man, those guys sound almost as if they've sucked back a few Red Bulls, but they'd have to in order to compete with and describe all what's happening with, 12 players on screen.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see, though, Rose?
What would you like to see, Steve?
Sometimes when either my internet or the the Overwatch server boots me off for no apparent reason, and I have to come back and death spectate.
Yes.
I can choose which character I want to spectate from.
Uh-huh.
What would be really neat, Ross, is if from the game, let's just say, we can link onto the webpage and it would allow us somehow to jump between what character we wanted to follow.
That would be cool.
That'd be freaking awesome. Because right now, I think, whoever's controlling the camera or whatever is eyeballing from a way high view of what's about to happen that's going to be intense. And then they'll go, okay, switch to this one. No, switch to Diva, switch to McCree, switch to... But I still want to see what's happening on different sides of the map, and it's hard to capture everything that's going on.
That's a great idea. That would be super cool to be able to have some sort of high-level interactivity that the viewers could engage with. Just to your point, being able to switch on the fly between characters, because that is something that we are locked into in terms of the sportscasters, the commentators that are talking and providing us with information as to what's going on at any given moment. We are locked into the characters that they are interested in. But yeah, I think that would be fantastic to be able to have some sort of technology in place where you as a viewer, while you're hearing them speak about whatever's going on, be able to click through and see what's going on, and as a result get like just real-time vantage points of what you're personally interested in.
As a side note, over the summer, I clicked onto this guy's YouTube channel. He goes by Rejected Shotgun, and he was talking
That's a fun
about
name.
Yeah, and he mentioned that one of his little inside sources, which to my knowledge is credible because he's predicted some stuff would happen in the game, and they did come to fruition. Anyway, he was saying someone in Blizzard, Scott Mercer, I think his last name is.
That name sounds familiar.
They're working on a replay feature to where if you go, man, that was a clutch game, let's go back and look at it again. It wouldn't be your perspective, but you could go through the map and watch the whole entire battle take place from different vantage points, kind of like they're doing here. But I think this was real time. That wasn't like post game that they went back and showed everything. But
they had certain segments where, like, once the whole round was over, they had like little instant replay parts, which they actually slowed down to show what's going on. And that was something I thought was fun.
So I wonder if they're testing that feature out for the regular game.
Possibly. One of the other things that I really appreciated too about what they are doing on the show is sometimes they will have a screen that is kind of a bird's eye view. It's a top-down view of just the entire map. And then you have these little circular icons that represent each player and where they are in relation to each other on the map. I think that's a nice vantage point, because sometimes there's so much chaos on screen. You're like, what? I know the immediate vicinity of where they are on the map. However, I don't really understand like where is where is everybody? Like, well, what is the positioning? What is the strategy? You actually can gain a lot of information based on that top view.
Right.
So one of the things I thought would be fun is to actually go through and list the team names, because these are fun. You have the Boston Uprising from Boston, Massachusetts. You have Dallas Fuel from Dallas, Texas. Florida Mayhem from Florida, obviously.
From Florida.
Yeah, Florida Mayhem from
Ohio.
Yeah. You have the Houston Outlaws, London Spitfire, Los Angeles Gladiators, Los Angeles Valiant, New York. Oh man, this word always trips me up. Excelsior. Excelsior. New York Excelsior. There we go. Sorry about that. Philadelphia Fusion, San Francisco Shock, the Seoul Dynasty, and the Shanghai Dragons. So pretty fun names. I think that they just fit kind of that persona of like a sports team.
I must say I like the what was it, the London Spitfires. That's friggin' awesome.
Their icon's actually super cool too. It has just the Spitfire from World War II.
So awesome.
British plane, yeah.
And the San Francisco Shock, and you see the lines that they have.
Yeah, okay, like earthquake kind of thing.
But in a way, it kind of resembles the
Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah. No, they were creative. They look good.
Yeah, they all look pretty sweet. My two teams that I'm kind of rooting for, and it's just because we grew up and also live there, is the Dallas Fuel and the San Francisco Shock. Those are the two teams that I'm doing my little like, yeah, hope you do well. Hey, it's my homies up there. Go team, sort of. Go team, go. Yeah. Now, the other thing that's worth mentioning is the fact that while we were watching some of these rounds going on, we discovered that there are several people on these different teams that actually are from different parts of the world. It's not like you have people like on American teams that are just from America or just from Korea or what have you. But actually it's a bit of a cosmopolitan setup where you have, I think it was either Dallas Fuel or San Francisco Shock. That was one of the other teams. But you had somebody who was like from South America. You had someone who was from, I can't remember, somewhere in Asia, I want to say, but like very different. It's almost like the Olympics in a way. You know how like back in the day and the kind of the not heyday, but just the old days of the Olympics, it was very much like you have people from that country, born and raised there, along with the coaches. I mean, everybody who made up that team is from that particular country. But then there were some rules that got updated and changed. And so suddenly you could have a coach from a completely different country come and coach your team to be in order to try and win the gold or silver or bronze, whatever it is. And actually there would be certain people from also different parts of the world who would just go and get like I don't know if you needed to get like a citizenship or something equivalent or close to that, but there are people who've actually switched countries in order to have a better chance at also winning the gold. So it's pretty interesting. This is obviously is not like an Olympic level, but they are adopting some of those same principles.
You know what? Going back to my last question, what I'd also like to see or hear is I'd like to be able to switch between if I wanted to hear the team chatter, or listen to the mediators, because I mean, even though the mediator's doing a great job, sometimes it can be funny, or it could be actually improve your own game to listen how the team is communicating with each other.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's been plenty of times where you and I have gotten frustrated and blurted out, whatever. And sometimes it's actually ends up being a different fun part of the game is the frustration.
You hear like 50% of the commentary from the players are like, I need healing.
Yeah, I need healing. I need healing.
Absolutely. I would say that if they did that, they probably would have to hold off on releasing it until after the championship is over, just because there would be people from opposing teams who would want that information.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of strategy that's going into that. But I also wanted to disclose the schedule. So I was under the initial impression that this was only going to happen for just like 1 week. and then that would be it. Like they just go through and do their thing. And I was dead wrong on that.
No, it's longer.
It is way longer. So as I previously mentioned, they had a period of time where they did the preseason, where we are currently in stage 1. And each stage, once again, to my understanding, is that there are 5 weeks worth of play per stage. And so right now we are on stage 1, week 1, and there are a total of 4 stages. And then once you get past all of the stages, which I do like that name, stage. It's very video game-esque as opposed to like other types of words they could have used. But the playoffs will then ensue. And then after the playoffs, you then have the grand finals. And they also have one last section called All-Star Weekend. And I read a little bit about it. It sounds as though it's kind of like this after party, if you will, where like the players just have fun doing what it is that they do. The championship itself is over with, and now they get to have a good time. I could be mistaken, but I believe that's what it is. So this basically will go from January until June. I mean, it's about, I guess 6 months worth of play. So it's very similar to that of football or basketball, just any other type of sport that people like to watch. They typically have a time period that's about that long. So what are your thoughts about the duration of it?
Hey man, if you enjoy playing the game, why not? I mean, you're going to play it either way throughout the entire year. So
yeah,
more the merrier. That's what I say, Russ.
It's true. I mean, I know for myself, I think that I will have fun bouncing back and forth between actually playing the game and then if I don't feel like playing anymore, just watching someone play. I've always wanted to watch people play, but there hasn't really been an option to do that within the game. It's not like I can go in there and go, oh, find a game that I can watch, whatever. It's nice to be able to take a break and be able to watch, and also to just marvel at the level of skill with these people, because these players are like the top 1% battling for the top 1% position.
It's almost too intense for me to handle, to be honest. Only because it's like chess, but Overwatch style.
Right.
Because if you think about it, when you're watching them play, they're totally aware of the board, let's say, and where their teammates are, where the opponents are, and the behaviors of both what they think they're going to do, just like chess. And so when you see a Widowmaker throw up her hook and already expecting somebody to be at a certain spot, and they are, and they make that decision within a half a second to fire, and they get a headshot, or if it doesn't matter. It could be like McCree, it could be Genji. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's just an awareness of your entire team and the opponents, and it's just crazy. Like you're already trying to anticipate what the person's going to do and do something before they do to counterattack.
Yeah. No, I remember we were watching one of the rounds together, and I was telling you how it's crazy to, like, just in terms of relativity, just where they're at. Because in my mind, before I was watching this, I was thinking, oh, we're going to see some crazy scores that just are just lopsided, and you're going to see total domination, that sort of thing. And you really don't see that a whole lot at least on this initial week of play. And I think it's just because, once again, going back to just the level of competition, like where you and I are at, we clearly are nowhere near the level of expertise that these players are. But the game pits us against other people of similar skill. And so there is that level of intensity where we just feel like it's just this epic battle every time. And especially when it's getting down to the final 30 seconds or whatever, you have these different types of plays that are just amazing saves or great aggression, whatever it is. And of course, that's not lost on the championship, or not the championship, but the league overall. But at the same time, due to the fact that everybody who's playing are just super good at what they do, there's almost like a gridlock mentality that happens at times where they really can't do a whole lot because they're just so good at like counter attacking whatever kind of strategy the other team's doing and vice versa, that sort of thing. And now I will say that there are moments where all of a sudden there is a breakthrough, there is a flanking move that occurs or an ultimate that is successful, that sort of thing.
But it's different in the fact that they step it up a notch, meaning if someone does their ultimate, or like you and I do our ultimate, it's to inflict the most amount of damage, let's say.
Yeah.
But I saw, I'm terrible with names. You told me to write it down and I didn't write it down. Anyway.
You can't write.
This human was playing Roadhog. This guy in front of a computer. Anyway, he was playing Roadhog, right? And his opponent was Zenyatta, the guy with the many hands, the thinking robot.
Mm-hmm.
And he did his ultimate to heal his team.
Right.
So Roadhog did his ultimate, which inflicts widespread damage, but it also pushes you away.
Right.
He used his entire ultimate to keep Zenyatta's ultimate away from healing his team, so that his team, Roadhog's team, could still inflict damage on the opposing team.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, completely mind-boggled.
Wait, how did he push him back, though?
His ultimate, when he's throwing out all those the shrapnel,
right,
that pushes you.
Oh wow! And because Zenyatta is invincible, he's not getting hurt by it, but he's still getting pushed.
Yes, so he's pushing him away from the payload and away from his team that he's trying to heal.
That is a good strategy. I never would have thought of that.
Boggled my mind.
Yeah.
And then with some other person I was watching was playing Farah, and she, I'm always trying to do like the environmental kills by doing concussion rocket, knocking somebody in the well, or off the cliff from the lighthouse.
Right.
Well, this person did it to knock themselves away.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I mean, unless I don't know. I guess you could do that, but I never thought about doing it that way because I always thought of it as an attack more than a defense.
Yeah, I've done that sometimes because I'm a big Farah player, and I discovered that too. That in instances where, like, say for instance, Diva is about to do her ultimate, she launches her mech up into the air and it's about to go. I can twist around and shoot at a surface that's close by with my rocket and be able to bounce myself away. And I would say most of the time I can find cover before the thing explodes. And so it's a wonderful way to be able to take evasive action. Even if it's not an ultimate. I mean, there are times too where like I'm just outgunned and I have to try and get away. So that is a great way to try and prevent myself from keeling over and dying.
Well, it's almost like her what is that? I can't think of the ability, but it's her jetpack. Not just like her hover, but when she puts it on and launches into the sky.
Right.
It almost doubles as that.
It does. Yeah. And like you said, it's a great method of being able to switch back and forth between offense and defense. It's just great. One of the matches that I watched was the San Francisco Shock versus the Shanghai Dragons. And that was particularly entertaining just to see how these two teams faced off against each other, primarily because you had a player on each side that loved to play as Widowmaker. And I believe it was Baby Bay and Undead. Both were just these cunning Widowmakers that just, I mean, I'm not very good. I suck at Widowmaker. I try to improve my skills. I'm just not a very good Widowmaker player. And so it just blows me away when I'm watching some of these players who are just naturals at this character. I mean, they were no-scoping people. Even if they were using their scope, they were like falling and jumping and just the ability to anticipate where a character might poke their head out and just automatically just go blow, just shoot them down.
That's what I'm saying.
They both were like just a treat to watch. I mean, it was just amazing to see the prowess just on display there. Also, Dante as Tracer dominated a ton on Ilios. Ilios was just one of those maps that can really turn the tide if you're not watching what you're doing because of that pit and everything. And it was amazing. Like, Tracer has always been one of those more
annoying.
Yeah.
Fly buzzing around, just You trying to swat her all the time? Yeah, I know, Russ.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's not meant to like actually go in and dominate like a certain area. She's meant to be a disruptor. She's meant to just here one moment and gone the next, and then come back again. She's a harassment unit, is what she is.
Right.
And Dante really just, man, had control of that whole area where that pit was, just darting back and forth all over the place, just keeping the opposing team just on their heels because they just didn't know what to do with them.
Well, I noticed that behavior a lot with players playing Tracer. It was basically like covering the entrances and the exits. Because you can get in there and you can get back out if you need defense or need some cover or healing or whatever. So you get in and you basically let the opposing team know, I see you and you're here, and everyone can hear Tracer fire.
Yeah.
And so everyone knows, okay, shoot over here. So she causes attention and gets rid of the surprise that the enemy's coming from this direction, and then she's back in. So yeah, she's a weaker character and she's supposed to be harassing, but she's, as far as covering all the highways where folks can come from, I mean, she had it just tied down.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first matches I watched actually was the Dallas Fuel versus the Seal Dynasty. And that was really cool too, just because the first round Dallas won, but then ultimately they lost the subsequent matches afterwards, and Seal ended up clinching that victory there. But I think that brings me to my next thought regarding this thing so far, which is looking at the schedule and seeing just what the outcome of the initial matches ended up being. I mean, I'm looking at how, let's see, San Francisco Shock versus Los Angeles Valiant, it was 0-4. You had the Shanghai Dragons losing to the Los Angeles Gladiators, also 0-4. Though the match I just mentioned, Dallas Fuel versus Seal Dynasty, that was 1-2. That was a hotly contested match. And I got to say that all things considered, I mean, Seoul is one of the big teams that everybody's looking to in terms of whether or not they can win. So that was just a hot match to watch. And then, of course, Thursday had the London Spitfire versus Florida Mayhem, in which London won. You also had Philadelphia Fusion versus Houston Outlaws. Philadelphia came away with a win, 3-2. Boston Uprising against New York Excelsior, in which case New York beat Boston on that 3-1. And then you had Friday, Los Angeles Valiant was playing against Dallas Fuel, in which they beat they had a shutout. It was just 3-0. And once again, same day, Florida Mayhem versus Boston Uprising, another shutout, 0-4. And that was, of course, in Boston Uprising's favor there. San Francisco Shock was back in. This time they had a W to place in their slot, 3-1 against Shanghai Dragons. And then today was London Spitfire doing a shutout, 4-0 against Philadelphia Fusion. New York Excelsior against Houston Outlaws, 3-1. And finally, Seal Dynasty coming back in with another shutout, 4-0 against the Los Angeles Gladiators. So one of the things I'm noticing is just there's not like any kind of consistency that I'm seeing. I mean, certain teams that early on out the gate of this week, they would lose. All of a sudden they would come back and win. And I'm curious to see, as this goes on, just the overall chart of like where we started and the whittling down of different teams that have certain amount of wins versus certain amount of losses. I mean, it's interesting to see kind of the dynamics. And I feel like there is a bit of I don't know, like there are certain attributes at play, whether it's perhaps something as simple as indigestion that causes them to not like play as well, or maybe it's stage fright because these are folks who are not used to playing in front of lots of folks, or maybe they didn't get some good sleep the night before. It just depends. But I mean, I think these are all kind of global, universal.
That would have been me, by the way.
What?
Not getting good sleep the night before. You're like, oh, guys, you count me out. You're like, but we didn't bring a substitute player. I can't do it.
I can't. I'm just going to sleep on my keyboard. Hearing you snoring over there.
Yeah, we've lost a player. We've lost a player. Drooling on my keyboard and on my mouse.
Yeah, exactly. So out of the 12 teams The current standings as of just this week, and again, this is just the first week. There are 5 weeks per stage. The teams that are in the top tier are Los Angeles Valiant, London Spitfire, Seoul Dynasty, and New York Excelsior. They're all 2 wins, 0 losses. So, but again, that could totally change as the weeks go on. So it'll be fun. And actually, if you guys want to check out more details, Blizzard has done a great job. If you go to overwatchleague.com, they have everything here from the teams to the individual players and their profiles, the schedule, the standings, stats, different videos and highlights from the various matches, news. You can even buy some cool Overwatch League gear.
Do they show some of the other teams that maybe didn't qualify?
I am not sure. I mean, they have the 12 teams that are competing for this and this particular season, but
because that would be cool. I mean, if you arranged a team and actually applied with Blizzard to do this, but maybe you weren't as good, or you didn't qualify for the pre-gaming stuff. I don't know. That just kind of neat to get some little bit of recognition that you give it your all and you've been playing Overwatch for a long time and this is a sport for you. And I don't know.
I'd be curious to find out what the process is, because my initial assumption really is that I don't think that Blizzard creates these teams. I think that these are pre-existing teams that are from their various areas, and they've been able to cultivate a bit of a following as well as even just rise through the ranks as they're playing through. It could very well be, though, that Blizzard contacted these various teams just based on what they're seeing from their data mining going on from the game, and then move on from there. I'm not exactly sure. What I do know, though, is I did a little bit of research on what goes into this, and they hand out minimum base salaries of $50,000 per player with, I believe, full health benefits. There you also get life insurance. And also during the actual season, which again, it's 6 months, it's half of a year, Blizzard will pay for your room and board. So you don't have to worry about any kind of expenses with regards to that. I'm not sure about food, that you may have to cover your own food, but
it's a pretty sweet deal thinking that that's basically your office manager job.
Oh, imagine you being 18 years old.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you have a passion for games. Not only do you have a passion for games, but you also are actually just amazing at playing them. You're a great Overwatch player. And again, this is not limited to just Overwatch. Remember, there are other games out there that have their own championships and whatnot that go on. You can earn some great money. I believe the prize for this one is $125,000. But again, that can grow too. I think that other championships that reside within esports, as time has gone on, they've been able to get more sponsorships, and as a result, the overall prize money just keeps getting higher and higher, to the point where it's kind of like, man, I need to start practicing. This is crazy.
I need to stop playing with the kids and start playing some Overwatch.
That's where it gets a little unhealthy. It's like, hey, Daddy, will you play me? Not now.
Not now. I need to make $50,000 in the next 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I, for one, am very much looking forward to seeing how this whole thing plays out. I think it's, like I said, I think Blizzard has done a tremendous job with the entire presentation of the Overwatch League. It definitely makes me want to check out some of their other championships. I have friends who are like diehard fans of like the StarCraft championship and the whole season of that, and League of Legends, that sort of thing. But for me, I was never really into it all that much. But Overwatch has just always fascinated me, and so as a result, I'm giving this one a shot.
You know who is into League of Legends though, Russ?
Who?
Big Baby Moose.
Is he an LOL fan?
He's a lol.
Ah.
Russ, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
In your countless hours of watching Overwatch League, did you notice any pattern with the character selection people were choosing there, Rose?
The only thing that I noticed was that most of the players would not stick with the same character throughout the round, that they would actually, at different points, all of a sudden choose a completely different character and a different class. It would they'd go from a support unit to a tank unit, or just go from DPS to EPS. It just depends on what it is. But what are you getting at?
I was noticing a lot of Orisa use. And we've been talking about Orisa, this, Orisa, that,
right?
And how Doomfist has gotten popular and people have gotten pretty skilled with Doomfist pretty quick. I didn't see Doomfist once.
I didn't. That is very true. I did not see anyone playing as Doomfist,
nor Torbjorn. I didn't see a single Torbjorn.
I didn't either. No. Now that it may be that due to the map selections, they have just realized that those particular characters don't excel as much,
right?
As opposed to other. I mean, like if you did Capture the Flag, for instance, I would think Torbjorn would totally be like a go-to character.
They need to have a league with Capture the Flag.
CTF.
Oh, man, that would be friggin' awesome.
But no, it's very true. I mean, obviously, like the characters that I saw on just about every round, there was always a Widowmaker. There was always a Diva.
Yeah, Divas.
Orisa.
Genjis, McCrees. I saw a lot of those.
McCrees, yeah.
Everyone's got to support, some rather, or multiple.
I saw a couple of Soldier 76s in there.
Soldier 76. A lot of Farahs.
I only saw a few. I didn't see a whole lot in there.
Roadhogs,
I saw some.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. We always say that we have to stick together as a team. This is a team-based game.
Absolutely.
And then we always just rant and rave and moan about people who just
cuss.
Yeah. One-man army it all the time and end up making the whole team fail. And then you see the people who are competitive and everyone's like within 3 feet of each other at all times and communicating.
Were.
I'm like, this is how the game is supposed to work,
Absolutely. I mean, well, yeah, and that's a great observation, is just the fact that round after round that I was checking out, that you never saw anybody be foolish and just dart ahead, or
if anything, it was dart away.
Yeah, but even so, like they didn't dart so far back that they were just not helping their team. There was always a radius that was there that they were able to just dive back in and do what they would need to do. But absolutely, both teams, didn't matter which round I was watching. I mean, and again, looking at that top-down view that they would sometimes show on the screen of just the placement of the characters, they were always playing as a cohesive group. I mean, it was just amazing to see that. And as a result, it was just difficult for them to get kills. I mean, sometimes you'd be able to crack through one of the other team's strategies and then they'd pay for it. But even ultimates, like if you saw McCree, this is another player that I was just really enthralled with, which was Pine. And Pine was actually on the bench. The team itself wasn't using the player until kind of the latter part of the round itself. They brought him in and he was playing as McCree. And the guy was just, McCree also he's not a character that you assault with like you would Soldier 76, right? He's a character that plays along the outskirts or the fringes. Like he likes to try and get the drop on you. He'll do some shots and then he'll go run and hide and try and come back somewhere else where you don't expect him.
Surprise flashbang.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, it was amazing to watch him have the amount of aggression and ultimately map control. Like just being able to take out as many of the opposition as he was as McCree. I mean, that was just a joy to watch. But also another round, I don't know if it was Pine, but there was someone who was playing as McCree and he did his ultimate, was about to take players out on the other team, and the opposing team had a Genji on the team that ended up deflecting McCree's ultimate back at McCree and taking him out with just perfectly timed. And as a result, then suddenly they had the upper hand for a temporary basis.
Someone's done that to me once. I wasn't happy. I'm like, I'm going to get them all. And then Genji goes, ping. Like, man, that was not a good night.
Well, do you have any last thoughts before we sign off?
No, Russ, that was my last thought.
Your very last thought?
Indeed.
Well, then in that case, This about wraps it up. We want to tell you to be sure to check out patreon.com/joygasm and subscribe to get the most out of the show. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Just do a search for Joygasm TV in addition to iTunes and Android.
Pretty much everything we said in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can listen to our podcast on soundcloud.com/joygasmtv if that's your bag. And last but not least, do a search for Joygasm TV on Twitch. Because, you know, despite them spending $90 million on the Overwatch League, you can also see us stream our Overwatch gaming adventures live.
And for free.
Until next time, happy gaming, everybody.